This Labour government has absolutely no comprehension of what it's like to set up a small business, to run a small business, and to meet a monthly payroll. None of them have ever done it. None of them get it. And as for the Conservative Party, which over the years would have said that it did stand for small business, well, in their time in office, all they did was punish small business again and again. I set up my first small business in 1993. For 30 years, I've run small businesses. For 30 years, I've known what the ups and downs of running a small business are like. Many was the time when it came to meeting the monthly payroll, when the staff would be earning a lot more money than me. I know how tough it can be. I know how legislation impacts on small business, and I know how much time is taken up with bureaucracy if you run a small business. And so today, as we launch Small Business for Reform, we are looking for tens of thousands of businesses up and down this country to join this organization. The sheer level of disconnect between the front benches in Westminster and what these men and women do in their lives has never been greater at any time in our history. This Labour government has absolutely no comprehension of what it's like to set up a small business, to run a small business, and to meet a monthly payroll. None of them have ever done it. None of them get it. And as for the Conservative Party, which over the years would have said that it did stand for small business, well, in their time in office, all they did was punish small business again and again. And unlike the other party leaders, I set up my first small business in 1993. For 30 years, I've run small businesses. For 30 years, I've known what the ups and downs of running a small business are like. Many was the time when it came to meeting the monthly payroll, when the staff would be earning a lot more money than me. I know how tough it can be. I know how legislation impacts on small business, and I know how much time is taken up with bureaucracy if you run a small business. And yet, just think back over the last few years. The IR35 rules brought in by the Conservative Party, affecting every single self-employed sole trader in this country, frankly, in the most bureaucratic and the most ridiculous way. I think it all comes from Treasury thinking that says that anybody in the private sector simply must be a crook, and only those of us in Whitehall are the good guys. The IR35 rules have made life very, very difficult for self-employed contractors, and frankly, they simply need to be scrapped. And let's allow the self-employed, who don't get sick pay or anything else, let's allow them to carry on with their lives. These businesses also hit by Jeremy Hunt's astonishing 30% increase in corporation tax in one go. In one fell swoop, put up corporation tax by 30%. And what that means is that all of these companies have less money to reinvest in their own businesses. Yet, again, that simply doesn't seem to be understood. And now we have a proposal from the Labour government that sole traders and small businesses, rather than filing annual returns to HMRC, will now be asked to file quarterly returns to HMRC, which just adds to cost, time, and bureaucracy. You can listen all you like to Labour, telling us that the Employment Rights Bill will make life better for employees. Well, maybe. If you're a big company with 5,000 or 10,000 staff, maybe you can deal with the increased cost and employee risk of the Employment Rights Bill. But what if you're a small business, just employing 3 people, and Labour bring in legislation whereby someone you take on could start to take action against you after literally the first day in work? There is no understanding of the impact of legislation. And that is because government only listens to big business. I saw this myself in my 20 years in Brussels. The big companies had their own lobbying offices, and it's not dissimilar here in Westminster. It's the big businesses that take you to Wimbledon. It's the big businesses that take people out for dinner. It's the big businesses that shape policy, and the small businesses, frankly, don't even get a look in. And yet, when you think about it, that's remarkable. Because over 99% of all businesses in this country are small businesses with fewer than 50 employees. Think of that. Over 99% of businesses. And think of this. 50% of those employed in the private sector, I'm talking about over 13 million people, are directly employed by small businesses. And yet, think again of what this Labour government has done. NIC of itself has had a massive impact on all of these people as employers. But just think, reducing the level at which NIC becomes appropriate to $5,000 a year, whilst at the same time putting up the minimum wage for under 18s by 18%, has meant 50,000 fewer teenagers have jobs today than did this time last year. Legislation that might work for big firms doesn't work for small firms. And I think the other great betrayal, and it is that, is every one of these millions of businesses, every one of these 5.6 million businesses believed that with Brexit, the regulatory burden on their shoulders would become less. And yet I can tell you, a decade on almost, from the referendum, that in every single industry, from financial services to fisheries, the burden of regulation, the threat of the regulator is worse now than it was then. In fact, I know many businesses literally live in fear of the inspector walking through the door, who in many cases seem to take an almost perverse pleasure at doing down small business. Some on the left will tell you, well, the economy is failing because capitalism is failing. No, we're not living in capitalism. We're living in an age of global corporatism. We're living in an age where the big businesses virtually control and own the political arena. Capitalism is what these people do. Free enterprise is what these people do. These people take risks. They risk their own money. They go to the bank and borrow money. They've no idea at the start whether their business concept will work or not. And many of them will have failures along the way. But that's what free market enterprise is about. It's about risk. It's about reward. It's about failure. And some of them, who despite everything, go on, succeed, make lots of money, well, they're almost treated in Britain as if they've done something wrong. As if morally it's wrong to be successful. Morally it's wrong to make money. Well, what a reform government will do is everything we can do from the education system onwards to change that culture. We will champion hard work. We will champion success. We will look to advertise men and women who we see as British heroes because they've set things up and they've succeeded. And think about it. Every big business, and by the way, there are only 8,000 big businesses in the whole of the UK against all the other millions such as yourselves. But every big business starts as a small business. Every innovation comes originally from somebody who's got a new idea. With good small business, with a healthy marketplace, you get increased choice for customers, you get better pricing, and you get better and greater technological development. I'm fearful. I am fearful that this budget won't understand any of that, And well, of course, everything about this budget will be to attack hard work, attack saving, attack aspiration. But if Rachel Reeves does make changes to dividend income, etc., I can see a lot of small businesses, especially those in the tech space, just thinking, you know what? I'll hop on a plane to Dublin and I'll work from there. It'll be just so much easier. I fear the flight of business, the lack of investment in this country will get significantly worse if Reeves does touch dividends. So my message today is very, very simple. The Conservatives betrayed you on small business. Labour doesn't have any comprehension of actually what you do as small business. We do. We get it. I've been in business. I've run my own businesses, as many of my colleagues have, as thousands of our members have. And so today, as we launch Small Business for Reform, we are looking for tens of thousands of businesses up and down this country to join this organization. We will put in place a board. We will work together to produce the right policies for small business, for entrepreneurship, for startups, for our manifesto, for the next general election. But more than that, we will become a very strong voice and a very strong lobby for small business as an ongoing part of the national debate in this country. And it's a debate, frankly, that has not been heard for far too long. I feel passionately about this. I will certainly be heavily involved with this organization. This is in my blood. I know it's in yours too. And I believe we'll get a very large number of people come and join us, join this organization, help us build a council. Let's give this the single most ignored group of people in this country. 5.6 million businesses, 13 million staff, 50% of jobs in the private sector. It's about time they had a voice, and we intend to give them that.